Okay, now this is the second tutorial. So in the first tutorial, what we did was we looked at how to create this mug. So we came out with this mug like we have here. We created a surface for the mug using a plane, and we also changed the camera angle as well. So what we're going to do now is add the material to this mug so that it looks like a 3D mug. So first thing, actually what we're going to do before we do any of that, we're going to save our work. So we're going to go to File, Save As, and then we're going to look for the appropriate location. So I'm going to put it under samples. I'm going to create a, let me just add, that's it. Actually, yeah, just give it a name here. So make sure you keep the .blend so that it opens up as a Blender file. If you want to edit it or change it afterwards. So we're going to call this mug.blend. Going to press save as Blender file. Okay, so now that's saved. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is right click on the mug. Okay, if you see this orange outlining, it means the mug is highlighted. We're going to go to materials button. We're going to click on new. Okay, at the moment we see this view. What we need to do is make sure we go in cycles render. So change from blender render to cycles render. Okay, so use nodes. What we're going to do is go to mix shader. So we're going to mix it up. Okay, for the first shader, I'm going to change that to diffuse. Okay, so we're going to change that to diffuse. Going to change the color there as well. So let's just say I want a blue mug at the moment, so I'm going to just pick a blue color there, and then I'm going to go through the shader. I'm going to make that glossy. Okay, so it's going to be a nice ceramic shiny color, and just leave that as it is. Change the roughness to 0. Okay, so that's done. So that's the mug done. Now this bottom plane, we want to change the color to that as well. So I'm going to go to new. Can leave it as diffuse, and we're going to change the color of that to, let's see, actually let's just leave it white. I'm just going to leave it white at the moment. Okay, so that's done. Next thing I'm going to change is the background color. So to change the background color, you need to go to this world tab. So what it does is changes the overall. At the moment this background is gray. We're going to change that to, let's change that to black. Oops, not black is here. Okay, and finally, what we need to do is bring back our, press N to bring back the properties panel. Where it says lock the camera, we're going to unlock that. And we're going to go to front view. What we're going to do is this pane, this other pane that you, this other plane that you had at the top. Okay, we're going to change that now. What we're going to do is use nodes, go to materials panel, click on new, and change that from diffuse to emission. So what that's going to do is emit the light off the plane. So any light that goes on there bounces back off. Then change the strength to 10. Okay, so now that we've done that, so all our properties, we've done it for all of them. What we're going to do now is go back to camera view. I'm going to come over here where it says this camera button to render it. Now, when you're rendering it, firstly the output folder. At the moment, it's in your temp folder, so you need to change that to the appropriate folder. So my one's going to be in my correct folder. What did I say? Example? No, sorry, it was samples. Okay, and we're going to change it here. So I'm going to call it mug.png. Accept. Okay, also the type of file, the file format you want to change it to. I'm going to keep mine as a PNG. Okay, you can pick any other type you want, but just for this I'm going to use a PNG. And what you can also change is the sampling. Now sampling at the moment is going to render at 10 samples. Okay, the higher the number, the longer it will take to render, but also it will be the better the quality of your actual final image. Okay, so let's just render this at 10 samples and let's see the difference. Okay, let's see what it does. So you click on render. Okay, so now it's rendering. This could take a little while, so I'll just pause the video until it finishes rendering. Okay, I finished rendering. This is what a mug looks like. Now at the moment you can see these little pixels, these little dots at the moment. The reason for this is the quality of it. Is because we only did 10 samples. Now I did say the higher the samples, the better the quality of the image. So what I'm gonna show you is an example of what happens when you render with higher samples. So let me just show you that. Okay, so here's a few examples I made earlier. So this is at one sample. So if you do render it at one sample, this is what it looks like. Okay, second one, this is at 50 samples. So as you can see, it's gone slightly more clearer, but you can still see the dots that are there. Okay, this is 100 resolution, 500, 1000 and 1000. As you can see, it's much clearer and much more efficient if you do it at 1000 samples. Okay, so that's the difference in rendering. But however, remember I said the longer you do this, the higher the samples, the longer it takes to render. So this 1000 sample render sample image, I think it took me about 4 hours to render. Okay, but it does depend on how fast your computer is. So you can try that. Okay, so that's how you create a 3D mug. Okay, what else I'll show you, what you can do is you can actually play around with your settings. So if you press escape to go back into normal view, what you can do, oops, not that. Well, you go to your samples, you can have a play around with, remember what we did earlier where we changed the roughness. Let's change the roughness to 10. You can also change the color of the mug. Let's make it red this time. And before you do glossy, let's show you what happens when you change it to, I don't know, gloss. Let's test out a gloss. And let's render this. Okay, as you can see, the mug is already changed to red, and it's going to have that gloss effect on it rather than the ceramic one you originally had. Okay, so there we go. Okay, this is what the mug looks like now. Obviously, it's currently at low quality, that's why it's taking so long, and you can see all these dots. But like I said, the higher the render samples you use, the better the quality of the image and the final resolution. Okay, so let's try. So this is how you can play around with the properties. So give that a go. Even the plane, change the plane color. If you want to change it, okay. In terms of light emission, originally remember what we did on the original plane. Let's go back to that if we can. This one here. So that's plane 1. Let's change. The strength of the light was 10. Okay, well, let's change that to 500. And let's see what happens. Okay, as you can probably already see, because you've got light strength of 500, it's emitting more light now. Now you can see it, even though it's not completely rendered, it's so bright. I mean, you can barely see it, so it won't be as effective. So with this, if you play around with these settings and these materials, you can adjust it accordingly and make it look as appropriate as possible. So that's how you use Blender. Thanks for watching.